Marilyn Monroe is one of the most iconic figures of modern times. Born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926, her brief life saw triumph and tragedy.
Marilyn's ghost is said to still haunt Hollywood, the place where she was born, lived, worked, and died. Will we be able to feel her presence by visiting the places closest to her heart?
And will we find proof that the spirit of the original blonde bombshell lives on in more than just the hearts of the people who loved her?
In 1962, Marilyn was found dead at her Helena Drive home in LA. She had died in her bedroom and was only 36 years old. The world was left in mourning, yet she remains loved and respected amongst her fans worldwide. Chris and I were fully aware that our investigation to track down Marilyn's spirit could be an emotional roller coaster.
I mean, that's too soon. That's too soon for anything to happen.
But were we fully prepared for what would happen over the next few days?
I don't like this.
What's that sound we're hearing?
I'm out of here. I'm going to start my investigation by actually going to meet someone who did know her, because I think it's really important that we get to know Marilyn as a person as opposed to just the icon.
Well, that's a good idea, because I know of a woman who starred with Marilyn in one of her films.
Okay, well, good luck, and I'll meet up with you later on.
Great.
I started my investigation over in West Hollywood, where I tracked down legendary hairdresser Mickey Song. In 1962, he got his best gig yet, doing the hair of the entire Kennedy family and that of Marilyn's on that infamous night of Happy Birthday, Mr. President. Mickey's home is a shrine to Marilyn, and a room has been converted into a copycat salon.
This is my workroom. It's a picture of when I did Marilyn's hair.
So that's the flick that you were talking about.
That's the flip, yes. You see,
that's very
in those
nice.
days, that was called a wing. So this was kind of my trademark, as I said, and I definitely wanted to use it on her.
What kind of hair did Marilyn have? Was it quite easy to work with? Or?
Yes, it was very highly bleached, and in normal state it was very curly, but it had already been set and it was smoothed out. But it was almost white blonde,
right.
So it was fragile because when you bleach hair that highly, it can be very damaging.
The reason that we're here is because we are hoping to get something, a sighting, contact, anything with Marilyn, and I'm a bit of a skeptic. What do you think are our chances of coming across anything? Or
I think you might be surprised. You might get more than you've even asked for. I think she could come back or show us a sign anyway. The place that most people have said that they have really seen her come back to is the Hollywood Roosevelt. It seems that they have a mirror that I guess she was either in her room when she stayed there, or at least that she used it for something. And I know that they've said that housekeepers and some of the clients have walked by and supposedly seen her reflection in this mirror.
Have you been there?
I've been there, but I haven't seen the reflection. But I would love to. It would be fabulous to see her again.
What would you ask her?
What happened? What really happened to her? And why is that her time was so short? And in one way, it's good because we never will know what she looked like old, and she'll always be remembered beautiful and young. I hope that she remembers sometimes how great she really was.
Meanwhile, Chris went to meet Penny McGuigan, who co-starred with Marilyn as a trumpet player in Some Like It Hot. Some Like It Hot was Marilyn's most famous film. Made in 1959, Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon played two musicians who witness a mob hit, then flee the state in an all-female band disguised as women. Marilyn plays Sugarcane, a member of the band and the object of Curtis's affections.
There you go.
A star herself in the Marilyn era, Penny fondly remembers her working days with the Sween Goddess. Would her insight get us any nearer to tracking down Marilyn's spirit?
My first memory of Marilyn was kind of wild. She was having her hair put up in curlers and her makeup being applied, and she came out of the makeup place and she walked down. It was almost like a strut. And she came down and she says, "Hi." And I said, "Hi, Marilyn." And everybody went, because she was so charismatic.
How did you find out that Marilyn Monroe had died?
I think I heard it on the radio while I was driving. The announcement came. And of course it was so shrouded in mystery, because some people say she committed suicide. Some people said, the Kennedys killed her. The fact that they took her body away and brought it back. There was just so many unanswered questions.
Since that time, there's been a lot of stories surrounding her death. But a lot of stories tend to come out that say she's haunting particular sites or people feel her presence. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I've heard that the Roosevelt Hotel has hauntings of Marilyn.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true.
If you saw Marilyn Monroe, what would you say to her?
I'd say, "Hi, Marilyn. Good to see you." And you still look wonderful. What have you learned since passing on? What are some of the mysteries that you now know? What goes? What are you doing over there? Do they have a production company? Are you acting? You know, I would ask her all kinds of questions.
To discuss our findings, I met up with Chris at Barney's Beanery, a popular meeting place for many Hollywood stars since the 1920s.
Yeah, during Some Like It Hot, Marilyn came in a lot. They had great catering on sets and stuff like that, but she had to come here for the chili. She had to eat the chili. I have co-workers here who said they've seen ghosts walking around here, and there's kind of a poltergeist kind of spirit. I haven't heard anything about Marilyn Monroe, but I can well imagine many of the celebrities who used to come here a lot and tragically died in this area. I imagine their ghosts come back and to eat a chili or two now and then.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Gail, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a good day. Interesting day. How was yours?
I actually met with Penny McGuigan. She was in a movie with Marilyn Monroe. She said she was like very energetic, charismatic. So I'm wondering that this attention factor, if it has anything to do with, she can carry that over on the other side, and she still wants attention.
Okay, well, when I spoke to Mickey, he thinks that he thinks it'd be quite likely that she would come back, and if she did come back, he thinks that she would be wanting to thank everyone for loving her so much.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do you think that people are so in love with her persona that they actually want to believe that she might come back, and that's it?
Well, I think everybody would want her to come back, but the question is, has she come back?
You did say that there have been reported hauntings in the Roosevelt Hotel.
You know, Penny did say something about, actually, the Hollywood Roosevelt.
Did she?
Hang on. Let's listen to this.
Well, I've heard that the Roosevelt Hotel has hauntings of Marilyn. I don't know if that's true.
So we had a lead, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. According to our two interviewees, this 12-story luxury hotel for the rich and famous has one very important ghostly client, Marilyn Monroe. Would this be the place we'd find her spirit? And if so, what message we should be trying to get across?
I'm done. It is good.
So we were on our way to this infamous hotel to investigate whether the stories of ghostly sightings were true. Was Marilyn really there? Or was it all down to the fantasy of the fans that loved her? And would Chris and I be prepared for what we'd experience while spending a night in two of the most notorious rooms?
I mean, that's too soon. That's too soon for anything to happen.
It could be haunted.
What the hell was that?
I'm not happy. Absolutely not happy. I want to get out of here.
The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel is a must-see for any ghost hunters during their stay in Los Angeles. With a long history of catering to the show business elite, it is said to be home to numerous spirits. Marilyn Monroe lived at the hotel at the start of her modelling career, and it was the stories of her ghostly presence that Chris and I were keen to investigate.
I think maybe this hotel plays on it because of the fact that it is an old hotel. I mean, it was built in the 1920s. What do you think?
I think with that historical, it's like a historical landmark. I mean, you see the openness of this, and so many people have come through here. A lot of famous people.
How likely is it that we're going to see anything, and what we're going to look for? Because we've got about 3 or 4 different locations in here that we've got to visit.
Right. I would say that we'd probably go to those locations because any situation that deals with a paranormal anomaly, if we go to that location first, we're going to test and see if we feel anything that's still there.
Okay, come on in.
In 1984, the hotel underwent a $12 million restoration program. Afterwards, paranormal activity was said to increase. Annie Agamalian, the hotel spokeswoman, was on hand to fill us in on these ghostly reports. First stop was the infamous Marilyn Monroe mirror that used to hang in her hotel room. Maids have reported seeing reflections of a sad blonde woman. However, when they've turned to talk to her, they found no one there.
We've had psychics and people that contact spirits come by and say they sense a feeling of sadness when they look in the mirror.
I'm just wondering if that energy that they're actually picking up is associated with some type of imprint that Marilyn Monroe may have left into this mirror. If she was going through any depression or any sadness, she could have stood in front of this mirror many times crying and releasing that energy, releasing that emotion. And it's always known that crystals or mirrors tend to absorb certain energies, and it could be possible that she may have left that imprint on this mirror.
The most famous room at the hotel is the Blossom Room, home of the first ever Academy Award ceremony in 1929.
The room that I've seen the most anything is in here in the Blossom Room. Sometimes when I come in the room, all the lights are off and doors are shut. I'll come through that door there, and I'll see like a light flicker, I swear.
Unexplained light movements and a cold spot, which is about 10 degrees cooler than the rest of the room, is supposed to linger at the bottom end of the hall.
And if you actually stand right here, you might be able to feel it.
I don't feel any cold spot, but I do feel like tingles of energy.
Psychics who have visited the spot have felt the presence of a man in a tuxedo who's in a state of great anxiety.
Okay, here's a cold spot. Gail, come here. I feel like right here, I feel just totally different. And I checked the door and there's no breeze coming through at all. I don't see any vents at all, but right here, I just feel like tingling. All right, something's moving around. I mean, it's moving around. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm just wondering if it's, I'd like to come here with equipment later and see if I could pick anything up. That's freaky.
Another ghostly sighting has occurred at the hotel's poolside, where security guards are said to see ghosts take a late night and early morning swim. The pool was also where Marilyn had her first ever commercial photo shoot. Could it have been her presence seen swimming in the pool?
We used to have a diving board here, and Marilyn Monroe did her first suntan lotion advertising commercial. Then it did so well, she decided to stay here for 2 years in that room, which is cabana number 246.
Hotel staff have mentioned peculiar events that have occurred from Marilyn's room, such as the phone ringing the switchboard when the room is vacant, and messages being left but no one there. And patrons have reported music playing while they've been sitting in the bath.
2 years, it's quite wee to stay in for 2 years. She's got a pretty good view of the entire pool. Do you think that's why she maybe liked this room, to sort of watch everyone? And
Definitely. And her mirror actually used to be right against this wall over here.
Right here?
Yes.
How do you feel just generally in the room?
Well, when I first walked in, I just smelled something. It was like a faint, but then it was strong and then it was gone. Like, ew, I can't even place what it was. It wasn't a good smell, but everything's fine now.
The last room that Chris and I were eager to visit was the Montgomery Clift Suite on the 9th floor, known to be the most haunted room in the hotel. Montgomery starred in the film The Misfits with Marilyn, and they were friends while staying at the Roosevelt. Maids have reported something cold brushed by them, felt a presence watching them, and something walked beside them. One resident reported waking up to find Clift in bed with her, and a psychic has awoken to find the actor sitting in the corner of the room watching him.
I mean, I would like to come back here later at night when the energy in this hotel is dying down from the physical realm.
What do you think are the rooms that are most interesting to you?
Well, definitely this room would be interesting to me because I would like to see what happens once the sun is down. The other room would be Marilyn's room to see if there's any energy still there. And then definitely I felt something in that ballroom that we were in, the Blossom Room. That would be a place we want to check out tonight.
As nighttime fell, Marilyn's image was everywhere to be seen on the streets of LA. Would we come into contact with the real her, in the place she so obviously loved to stay? And would we experience any of the many other Roosevelt spirits? Chris was confident, but I needed a parapsychologist to provide a rational counterbalance.
My name is Dr. Barry Taff, and I've been a parapsychologist for the last 34 years. A parapsychologist, by definition, is a scientist who has dedicated much of their scientific research and exploration into the field of what we call now the paranormal. It ranges anywhere from such things as telepathy and clairvoyance and precognitions, poltergeist hauntings, doppelgangers, things that go bump in the night.
I'm a skeptic, and I really would like to believe. So is there anything that you can give me some advice?
Initially, I'd say keep an open mind. Secondly, I'd say don't let it be so open that you're naive or gullible about something, because before we assume something's paranormal, we have to rule everything else out. There are instruments available that can record some changes in the environment that might correlate with this phenomenon.
Because I know that you've got a bag full.
You may be familiar with these, Barry. We've got a thermal scanner, which we use to detect maybe any cold spots, temperature drops. And also the EMF detector, which is great.
What does that mean?
What the theory is that whenever a ghost manifests itself, it creates electromagnetic disturbance. If there's any type of flow or energy, this may pick it up.
Okay, let's go. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
And first stop was the Blossom Room.
I walked over here, I didn't feel the cold right away. All of a sudden I felt like the energy and there was all this tingling, and I was amazed by that, so I started to walk over here, then I felt a cold spot that was going around me, through me, and everything, and I realized, wow, she is right what she's saying. Right now I don't pick anything up, I don't feel any cold spot, I'm not feeling anything at this particular moment.
And what about your meter?
No, the meter is just making some standard movements, not anything out of the normal.
You have to understand that these types of phenomena are evasive, first of all, and they're transient. They could be there one day, 1 hour, not be there the next hour, the next day.
Nothing. I haven't felt anything, and I'm a little upset about that because before I did feel something in that spot, but now I'm not picking anything up through my walkthrough. Let's go to Marilyn's room.
Okay. Even though Chris had not felt any apparitions, when looking back at the nighttime camera, we did see an object moving on its own behind my head in the so-called cold spot. This was at the same time Chris thought he saw a light flicker.
Nothing. It was just a reflection of here. I thought I saw like a little spark.
We have no idea what this particular moving light is. Could it have been an orb? Orbs are believed to be the most common configuration pattern for the spirits of the dead. The sphere is considered the ideal vehicle for moving about and may represent one or more spirits or souls.
very stale air in here. Really musty.
I noticed that earlier today. The air was kind of
Stale.
kind of pungent right when I walked in, and then it was just basically dry. If there's anything that is attached to this room, any spirit that is attached, I'm asking you to present yourself in a form that is comfortable for you. You don't have to. We're getting nothing but dead air.
I'm not feeling anything.
I'm not feeling anything.
Barry and Chris declared the room neutral. If Marilyn's spirit did exist, she was not giving us any signs. Perhaps we would have more luck in Montgomery Clift's room, the place even the maids were scared of.
This is the room that Montgomery Clift had spent about 3 months in. And some maids have felt him brush against them, or they felt him breathing on the neck. Some maids were cleaning outside and heard a bunch of noises here. I guess Montgomery Clift may have been going through some traumatic emotions at the time. I guess allegedly may have been an alcoholic. Could possibly be some more negative energy that's being dispelled. The one thing that I do feel, more than I felt in the Marilyn room, is that there is some type of impressions left here, as if there's some type of trails that something has visited this room.
You know, if I had to make any statement at all, Marilyn's room felt neutral, except for bad air.
Yeah.
This room gives me a sense of anxiety, and I can't. Other than that, this room makes me feel anxious.
How do you feel now, Gil?
Okay.
Even though I'd felt fine when I'd first entered the suite, I have to admit I was starting to feel an increasing amount of anxiety. And the fact that Barry had felt something too didn't calm my nerves.
I think this is the best spot that something could possibly occur out of all the places we've been. Question is, when?
Chris decided he wanted to stay the night in Montgomery Clift's room. My first instinct was to get out. However, I did reluctantly agree to stay in Marilyn's room. Meanwhile, over at the Montgomery suite, something very strange had happened. Whilst Chris was saying goodnight to Barry and the film crew, he noticed something was out of place.
Hey, you put my thermal scanner there? It was in my bag. I never took it out. I swear to God, I did not. I'm standing right here, and I just give them the camera, and I'm looking, and I just look down, and I'm looking, what the hell's that? I go, oh, that's my thermal scanner. Gail must have put it there when she walked out. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Why would she put it there?
That's the thing.
Why wouldn't she give it to you?
Did any of you take the scanner out and put it?
I didn't even know it was out. I mean, I just assumed it was in the bag. I didn't put it downstairs.
Well, it did something, and it's...
In a port.
Oh, fuck. I mean, that's too soon. That's too soon for anything to happen.
I heard a noise. I wanted to just, hopefully, it was another one. The thing is, I realise that noise could possibly have a very rational explanation, but I don't like it. There's part of me that says, oh, this is just, it could be haunted. It's the bed, obviously. There's a very odd feeling in here. I just wish there was someone here. I'm sure there's something going on. I'm out of here. I don't like this. I'm not happy. Absolutely not happy. I want to get out of here. Oh my God, I can't see. I can't see. I can't see anything in this place. Is that you?
It's me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
2 minutes after midnight, I'm at the Hollywood Roosevelt. That was nothing. That was just a film crew trying to find parking. Thank God. It's funny, huh? What the hell was that?
Later in the edit, we filtered the noise.
It's funny, huh?
Could this have been a groan from Montgomery Clift? Chris was getting agitated as the noises continued. This time, as if someone was flicking a light switch in the bathroom.
All right, right now, the
Whilst analysing footage from the second camera, we also noticed that soon after this event, a strange light flickered along his arm when he called for Montgomery Clift.
Tell me your name.
Could this have been another orb?
Alright, I just heard something, like I don't know if that was a moan that was coming from over by the bathroom. I don't like the bathroom.
Amongst the Hollywood elite, it was rumoured that Montgomery was an alcoholic and spent a lot of time in the bathroom because of this.
Now my ears, I feel pressure in my ears right now. Right around my neck and in here. I don't know for sure, but I heard something. I hope Gail's having fun.
Okay, well, I've just got back from the Roosevelt Hotel and I feel like I've let myself down and I've let Chris down. It was something that I thought I would be quite comfortable with and quite at ease with, and I'm not. But I'm just going to think about it and then get some sleep.
Even though we'd experienced some unexplained phenomenon at the Roosevelt, our investigation had not got us any nearer to Marilyn Monroe's spirit. So nothing could ever have prepared us for what lay ahead.
Marilyn, is this Marilyn Monroe? Are you the spirit who's with me? Did you hear that sound? What's that sound we're hearing? Marilyn, can you tell me who the person was that was talking to you while you were dying?
It was the morning after our night at the Roosevelt, day 2 in our search for Marilyn's spirit. We'd experienced some unexplained, possibly paranormal events during our time there. But I was convinced that if Marilyn's ghost does haunt Hollywood, her spirit is not at this particular hotel. Chris had lasted the night in his room. I, on the other hand, had panicked and fled back to my motel. Nonetheless, I was determined to carry on the investigation. We met for breakfast by the pool to discuss last night's events.
How was it then?
Not too bad. I want to hear more about your night.
My night was about 3 hours long. I was too scared. But tell me, how was it? Did you see anything, feel anything?
Well, actually, the night started right off with a bang. You weren't around. Barry and I were there, and I was trying to call upon this thing to hopefully something would happen. And I went and opened up the door. Right in the corner there's a closet. I saw something. I'm looking. I'm like, what is that? I go, oh, someone brought a scanner. So it looks like my scanner. Wait a minute. That is my scanner. And I'm like, I never took it out of my bag.
Could it not have fallen out your bag?
There's no way. Because my bag was in the other room.
So what about the rest of the night?
But while I was sitting there talking to the camera, I kept hearing some noises in the bathroom. It's funny, huh? My hairs on my arms started to stand on end, and I felt a lot of like little energy around me, a little tingling, a little bit of a cold spot. I kind of freaked a little bit, I must admit. And then it like died down. And I'm like, come on, come on. So the rest of the night, it kind of was like a downward spiral, but I made it the whole night.
Yeah, at least I tried.
We left the Roosevelt. I'd heard of a practice called psychometry, and I wanted to see if getting closer to Marilyn's possessions would get us in touch with the lady herself. I'd asked a collector of Marilyn memorabilia to help us out. Out front, Chris had tracked down psychometrist Michael Curry.
Psychometry is the gift of being able to hold an item in my hands, and for some reason my left hand is more sensitive than my right. I absorb the information from it. Metals, wood holds energy. I can close my eyes, I go into a light state of consciousness called a trance, and that energy sort of gives me symbols. It materializes in the way that I'm able to decipher and give information about who owned the pieces and where they came from before.
Greg Schreiner is the president of the Marilyn Remembered fan club. He is also a huge collector of anything Marilyn.
It seems like it was almost Marilyn's spirit guiding things to him, because people kept calling him saying, I have this item of hers, would you be interested? And through magic, I was able to get some of the items I never dreamed that I'd be able to own.
Now, you haven't seen any of these objects yet
No.
that we're going to show to you.
No.
What do you think you're going to get?
I have no idea. I won't know until I actually touch them and start to feel the presence of the vibrations that are around them.
I have 5 of her gowns, I have a lot of her furniture from her last home, and I have a lot of personal effects with Marilyn, including scripts, contracts, checks, jewelry. I mean, it's amazing. I can't believe how lucky I am.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it'll be very interesting if she does come through. Maybe she'll give some really great information about why she's still here.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see what will happen. Certainly, a lot of these items have a very close connection to Marilyn because she wore them or she touched them. So perhaps we'll finally solve the mystery of her death.
I need to ask a question, if it would be all right. Can I sit in here by myself without them? Because I really need to absorb the energy. There's so much energy in here. Many times my left hand trembles when the spirit energy is coming through. So you might want to focus on my left hand. You'll see it. Wow. Yeah, very strong. So there's a lot of energy here. Marilyn, is this Marilyn Monroe? Are you the spirit who's with me? Marilyn, is this you? Give me a sign. Let me know that it's actually you. Did you hear that sound? What's that sound we're hearing? What happened then, Marilyn? Tell me what happened to you then. I'm getting the letter E very strong. There's an M, E-M. Who is E-M? She's wearing a white dress, but she's not a nurse. She's not an official nurse. Marilyn, can you help me here? This was her nurse? Or a woman who acted as her nurse?
Her housekeeper was named Eunice Murray.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to have to ask, is she associated with your death in some way?
Eunice Murray was hired in 1961, a year before Marilyn's death.
Okay. All right. Okay. Calm down. Calm down. Okay.
According to some reports, it was Eunice who discovered Marilyn's body.
She says, that's one of the reasons I have stayed behind, is I want people to know the real truth behind my life. She's saying I didn't have to die, I could have been saved if it wasn't for that asshole Peter Lawford.
Rat Pack actor Peter Lawford was alleged to be the last person to speak to Marilyn.
It's okay. Just in your mind, talk to her and tell her that we're here to help her.
I just felt stuff going through my blood, like sickness, like chemicals and shit. She knows she was slipping away.
Okay, let's ask her, since we know she's here, let's ask her who that person was. Marilyn, can you tell me who the person was that was talking to you while you were dying? Was it Eunice? Okay, that's definitely a yes. So it was Eunice Murray? Okay.
She didn't want to die.
She didn't want to die. She wasn't ready to die yet.
The thing that I saw, which is weird, is I tend to pick up the emotions or feelings surrounding what was just going on, as if I slipped into that person, or that person slipped into me. And I saw just frustration, upset, as if she was slipping away, trying to grasp on, as if the medication was going through her body. And there was someone standing above her, which I saw a female standing above her, trying, to talk to her, trying to keep her, coherent and everything. And Marilyn was trying to hold on. She was trying to stay in her body, trying to stay awake, and she couldn't. She just slipped away. Mm-hmm. And I felt that sadness, like, no, I don't want to go. What's happening to me? I can't believe you're doing this to me. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing this to me? Mm-hmm. And the person was talking, but she was losing consciousness and being able to totally hear exactly what the person was saying. And I felt myself in that role.
Do you want to take a bit of a break? I mean, there's obviously a lot of energy in this room at the moment, and it's affecting Chris and it's affecting you.
Right.
Is there any way that we can use this energy to get more information? I mean, I don't think we should carry on just now. I think maybe
I think what we need to do is we need to do a communication circle, which is my term for a seance.
The actual events that surrounded Marilyn's death will probably never be known. However, through the power of psychometry, we'd received some interesting allegations, whether you believed in them or not.
I mean, you're skeptical, but you just witnessed something really phenomenal. Let me ask you that. What do you think about what you saw in there?
Well, I don't know, because all the information that you came out with, I knew anyway from reading books.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So none of that was unusual. I'm not, saying anything negative.
I understand that.
I'm just saying it is a little bit unusual for me.
Right.
Because there was nothing. I didn't learn anything new there.
Right. Sure. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
What I was now concerned about was how emotional Chris has become. His powers as a sensitive meant that, allegedly, he could feel what Marilyn had felt on that fateful night. Would he be prepared for the events that unfolded at the séance? And would we come into direct contact with the blonde bombshell herself?
Nobody has to enter you. Nobody has to enter you. Don't let them enter.
Night had fallen on Los Angeles, and our quest for the ghost of Marilyn was coming to a climax. I'd been intrigued by what our investigation had uncovered so far, and Chris especially seems to have been touched by what he's felt. We'd agreed to hold a séance at Greg Schreiner's home in the presence of Michael Curry and members of the Marilyn Remembered fan club, in the hope that the spirit of Marilyn Monroe will at last make her presence felt.
So tonight we're going to have a séance held by you and Michael. What exactly does that involve?
Basically what's involved is we have a bunch of individuals around the table. We join together our energies by holding hands. Once we've done that, we try to cleanse the room, which means give a protectant around there, like a white light. Protect us from any negative energy that might come forward.
What can we expect?
Actually, there's a lot of things we can expect. I don't know for sure we're going to see things moving around the room or anything like that, because we've already established a communication link with Marilyn.
As non-believers are not allowed in the circle, I'm going to be on the outsides looking in. I've invited Barry along from Roosevelt Hotel, and he's going to talk me through everything that's going on. So I really hope that Marilyn comes through for you.
Okay, good. Why are you scared?
I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
As a parapsychologist, it was Barry's role to check the location and frisk the participants to ensure that there could be no trickery.
Trying to just establish some rudimentary controls here. We'll block the door so no one will come in and surprise us. For given this as a living residence, this is the best control we can hope to establish without, like days or hours of preparation.
And with everything set, it was time for the seance to unfold.
Before I begin, I'm going to ask Barry to turn off the lights. What I want you to do now is I want you to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I want everybody to begin thinking about Marilyn. Marilyn, we think of you, and we ask you to come forward. Marilyn, we love you, and we ask you to come forward. I am sensing there's someone else that's coming forward. Seems actually shy.
I'm getting the name Johnny. He's wondering why we're not inviting any other spirits to come through, because he says the house is full. He says that each of us have guides with us, and they are behind us. And he's here for Gail. The little girl's near you too. She's on your right. She likes your energy.
I feel the call.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, they're coming from everywhere.
I'm getting very cold on my side, on my left. Each of you, focus on Marilyn again. See her in your mind. And let's all envision her in that white dress.
But I sense Marilyn. I feel Marilyn.
Let her know that it's okay she's among friends. Let Marilyn know that we want her to be among us. We want to feel her energy. Come and be with us, Marilyn.
All of a sudden, the room was filled with a strong scent of perfume. It is a known fact that Marilyn's favourite perfume was Chanel No. 5.
Very strong.
Could this be her scent?
It's like gardenia, like old gardenia or blue gardenia or something like this. Something an old lady would wear.
According to Barry, there appeared to be no logical answer.
It's really strong right here. I smell it too.
I feel strong presence to my left. Little girl just giggled.
One of the Marilyn Remembered fan club members, Therese, started to show signs of discomfort.
Do you need water, Therese?
I think I shouldn't be doing this.
Just trying to enter her.
Okay.
I can't do this.
Okay. Just don't let her come through. Don't let anybody come through. Just think of pink light, healing. Think of grounding yourself.
I'm too sensitive to this.
Nobody has to enter you. Nobody has to enter you. Don't let them enter. Okay, you can break the circle if you need to. Okay, and Greg and Chuck, just imagine you're holding each other. Okay, to keep the circle going. Okay, give her some water. Yeah, the entity was pretty strong that was over here. It could have done that. Okay, just think of pink light to heal yourself, to ground yourself.
Get away from me now.
And feel the Marilyn energy is here now. Does anyone want to ask Marilyn a question?
It seems from the brief moments that I have felt your presence that there's still a sadness in your heart. Can you tell Michael what it is that you still feel?
Through the power of automatic writing, Michael was supposedly able to translate information from Marilyn for the rest of the group. So it seemed that the spirit of Marilyn had allegedly made her presence felt for Chris and for most of the people at the seance.
I do not understand. Something so many worship me. Why so many worship me? I wish to be free now. Please help me. I wish to fly upward to heaven.
However, the message she sent was a sad one, that in order to move on, she needed to be left alone.
If you want to help her, people have to let her go. Let her go and go on to the other side.
Yes, yes.
She must swim home. We all go home.
Yes, please.
She wants to go home.
Oh, I think with Marilyn, I was really happy to see that she wants to move forward.
Really, I think Marilyn was there a bit. I'd like to think so anyway, because it was a lovely thing.
I like that she sees herself as a human who wants to move forward into into a peaceful existence, because I don't think her existence was real peaceful.
It's important not to worship people like Marilyn that have departed. It's important to let them go.
It was time to wrap up the evening.
With all due respect to all the participants of the seance, I have to say that what was being said, while intriguing and entertaining perhaps, could be said by anybody. Just because someone says something doesn't mean it's real, it doesn't mean it's right, it doesn't mean it's wrong. All we're looking at here is an experiment in, I guess, in dealing with the human psyche. Is people believe what they want to believe, whether it's real or not.
Chris was exhausted and drained. Our investigation had finished. Chris claimed to have reached Marilyn, and he said that he hoped he'd helped her. The following morning, Chris and I met up at our base to discuss our findings.
During this investigation, our main purpose was to find Marilyn Monroe. And after last night, I felt that I did. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad that you did. And I have been a lot more freaked out than I thought I would be. There was genuinely bits where I was a bit frightened and thinking if anything did happen, I wouldn't even know how to deal with it. And I didn't like the effect that the seance or the communication circle had on Therese. I didn't like that.
And I know you didn't get enough proof. There was nothing that really happened to you. I mean, I felt someone pull my hair, something poked me here. There was major cold spots that had moved around that room. But the amazing thing is how Marilyn, everything else carried over to the other side, but she's still sad because all her fans, from what she says, are keeping her here by creating some icon, worshiping her.
So you've got a message from this. I've had an interesting time.
But I hope that during one of these investigations, that something manifests or something moves or makes a sound or even touches you to give you a little bit more concrete proof.
As long as it's not you.
That's right, it won't be.
It was time to pack up and move on to another investigation. Who knows what the future would hold for us, but one thing was for sure. I was expecting the unexpected.